Do you find it easy to make plans, but you find it hard to actually stick with them? Are you maybe ready to start a new health journey or a new business journey, but you're not sure how to be consistent? This isn't going to be one of those fluff videos talking about discipline as if you have all the time and energy in the world. I'm a full-time neuropsychologist, I'm a business owner, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of toddlers. So not only is the advice I'm going to share with you information that I know works, but it works for even the busiest of people. It will also be perfect for anyone with ADHD tendencies or recovering perfectionists, because I have burned that toxic productivity culture that is unrealistic and is keeping us really burnt out. Whether you're a busy full-time working mom, a busy student, or just an ambitious woman trying to juggle all of the things, this video is going to give you straight to the point information that's going to help you stick to what you plan, be consistent with your goals, and finally show up for yourself in a disciplined way. And guess what? As a result of being more disciplined, I bet you're going to feel less anxious, you're going to feel more in control, and you'll finally be able to get out of that slump that you've been in. So let's get started. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is where you're going. Destination, dream life. Nobody's really talking about how important goal setting is when it comes to staying consistent. And I want to emphasize that because it can truly make or break your consistency. And this is because discipline and consistency starts with a vision of where you actually want to go. And after you decide on where you want to go and you have that vision, it's important to also take some time to think about the why behind your goals. So why do you want each of those things? If you're looking to lose weight, why do you want to lose weight? Because research has shown the more connected with our why, the more motivated we are to be consistent with that goal. In the Mod Ambition Planner that I created, the whole goal planner in the beginning section is evidence-based achievement psychology, and it helps you when you're in that goal setting process to use those types of evidence-based techniques like defining your why and a whole other host of evidence-based prompts in the first goal section. The more sturdy your vision is and your goals are and your motivation behind those goals, the easier it's going to be for you to stay disciplined and stay consistent with those goals in the long run. And then another thing I want you to do is to consider using the 12-week year to accomplish those goals. The whole premise of this book is to get more done in 12 weeks than most people get done in an entire year. If you would like to know these strategies, I have a cheat sheet and a free template to help you implement the strategies of the 12-week year, whether you use the Mod Ambition Planner or your own system. But the idea is you really want to have a system to get to your goals. And I know a lot of people these days I've seen on YouTube say, have system, not goals. And I say to that silly rabbit, you actually have to have both. You want a system that is working towards a goal. A system without a purpose is just kind of pointless, right? You want a system to work towards something that you achieve. So yes, define those goals, but also have a system that's going to help get you there. And in the 12-week year strategy specifically, you'll use what psychology calls implementation strategies. So these are little hacks that you can use to help you meet your goals. Implementation strategies are things like SMART goals. So breaking down your goals into smaller, more achievable, more actionable goals. So that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. Also doing things like envisioning any obstacles that may get in your way, not only in thinking about any obstacles, but imagining yourself overcoming those obstacles. Research has shown it helps you more likely do that in the future and stay consistent with your goals because you already have an idea. It isn't going to be perfect. There are maybe challenges, but I can do hard things, right? And I have the power to overcome those challenges. And I do want you to KISS.
Keep it simple, stupid. Great advice. Hurts my feelings every time.
So keep it simple. Stupid is that adage, which I don't like the last word, but maybe we can think of a better word for the last S or a star. Keep it simple, star maybe. And so you have all those SMART goals, right? You have those visions, you have those things that you're imagining, but in the day-to-day, it's hard to keep up with that. Now, I prescribe you look at your goal planner and your vision board every day, at least once a week. But in the day-to-day actions, I want you to also keep it simple and have like certain mantras that can help you along the way when you do feel sluggish or slumping or unmotivated. So for me, it's really helpful to have that word of the year, which is why I included that you'll see in the goal planner that I have in that beginning, because you want to do all this important work, but you also want to boil it down and summarize it into something that you can carry with you on a daily basis. My word of this year is push, and it has evolved to mean many different things of pushing myself creatively, but also pushing myself out of my comfort comfort zone and to be doing more. So devise all of that into something that you can keep simple and keep with you. That's going to help you stay disciplined as well. And another important part of this vision and setting these goals is infusing discipline within your identity. Tony Robbins said the most powerful force in the human psyche is people's need for their words and actions to stay consistent with their identity, how we define ourselves. So you want to define yourself as a disciplined person, as a person with integrity, meaning that you show up even if nobody is looking, even if it's only yourself holding yourself accountable. You're going to do what you said you're going to do. You're going to have that integrity. You're going to have that discipline because that's just who you are as a person. You're a consistent, disciplined person. I think Nipsey Hussle, who is a rapper that unfortunately passed away, he spoke about integrity in a very poignant way in which he shares with his daughter. He was a very conscious person, and I wanted to share that clip.
I drop my daughter off every day. I drill her every day at school. When I take her to school, you know, we have a little combo we had before she got the car. She gets sick of running the script to me, but I pound it in her head. Like, you know, what is integrity? You know, integrity doing the right thing when nobody's looking. All right. You know, are you a leader or follower? I'm a leader. What's the difference? Think for myself. All right. Do you have confidence? Yes, who's confidence? Believe in myself. That's our script every morning.
And with that, infusing discipline into your identity, you're going to reframe discipline as, instead of something hard to do, it's actually a form of self-care. It's a way of showing up for yourself. That is part of who you are, and this is how you show up for yourself on a daily basis. Okay, so we're talking about discipline being the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. So now that you have the vision of where you want to go, it's time to build that bridge with 4 dirt simple ways to stay consistent and disciplined. So you know where you want to go, you have a plan to get there, but how do you stick to your goals to actually do those things to get there? I know all too well that shameful cycle of making these big plans, starting off with a bang, falling off with an even harder bang, trying to do all you can to get back on track, burning yourself out, and then kind of just falling completely off track, and then starting that whole shameful, toxic cycle over again. That was until actually I started researching self-discipline when I was in grad school getting my PhD and learned these 4 dirt simple techniques to stay consistent. So the first technique is to don't give up. And you're probably thinking, duh, obviously that's what discipline is about. But I want you to really hone in on this idea of I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to give up, and really inoculate yourself with that mantra. So you can do this quite a number of different ways. The first one is using placeholders. This is how you're not going to give up and stay consistent even when you're feeling unmotivated. So let's say you have a goal of doing, running on the treadmill every morning, and today you're feeling unmotivated. So what you're going to do is, instead of skipping that cardio, you're going to stay consistent, you're going to stay disciplined, and you're going to just get on there as a placeholder for your routine. So you may not go 100, you may not crank it up to level 5, but you're going to get on there level 1. You might watch something you enjoy, but it's at least you still got on the treadmill and you stayed consistent with what you said you're going to do, and then you can get back on the horse of going a little bit harder the next day, but at least you didn't just get yourself out of the habit of getting your butt on that treadmill when you said you're going to do it. So in order to apply this, there's a couple things you're going to need to do. You're going to need to forget about perfectionism. Some of us, perfectionism holds us back. If you can't do things 100%, you're just not going to do them at all. Let go of that black and white thinking and really embrace good enough is good enough, and sometimes just showing up is good enough. Another thing you're going to do is, let's say you do actually, fall off the horse and you stop doing what said you were going to do for a couple days. You're going to get back on the horse. You're going to keep trying. Don't say, well, dang, this isn't working for me. I tried it a couple times. I didn't stick. Keep trying. So keep going back to it, and eventually, I promise you, it will stick. Paulo Coelho said, you are not defeated when you lose. You're defeated when you quit. So know that what you're trying to do to change yourself may take a little bit of time, and don't really expect overnight changes when it comes to becoming more of a disciplined person. Have grace with yourself, have kindness with yourself, and the biggest kind thing that you can do for yourself is to keep getting back on that horse. And just a side note, if you're liking this video, please be sure to hit that like button and to subscribe. It really helps me stay motivated to give you the best information on planning planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Okay, the second dirt simple thing you're going to do to stay consistent is you're going to fall in love with delayed gratification by breaking in your larger goal into smaller instant gratification milestones. For instance, I have a PhD in clinical psychology, specializing in neuropsychology, which took me 5 years to get. This is after I did a master's of 2 years and did a bachelor's of 4 years. I know I don't look that old to do that, but I am. So when I started that program, if I just thought about graduating, and it is a tough program, it involves a lot of research, a lot of writing, a lot of reading. So if I would have just thought about that, I would have never got there. But that's why in the school system, it's built in with grades. So you have your first year and you celebrate, I finished my first year, or you even finish your first semester, or you finished your first test. I thought about it in those milestones of like, okay, I'm getting through this semester. Oh, I got through that. So let me celebrate myself. I got through the next one. Let me reward myself, to eventually you get to that larger one where you're licensed and you're done with that and you're just so happy. Now you can pay your student loans. Okay, but you guys get the idea. Yes, think about that delayed gratification, but you're going to get there with smaller instant gratifications. The third dirt simple technique to stay consistent is accountability. So you're going to have accountability with others that you can use, and also self-accountability. So let's talk about it just a little bit. So according to the 12-week year, you're 7 times more likely to be successful if you participate in some form of peer support. There was a study conducted with patients that had severe medical conditions that required lifestyle changes in order to live. What they found is that when patients attended group support sessions, that their success rate was nearly 7 times higher. The groups not involved in peer support had a 10% success rate. Those participating in support had a 77% success rate. The lesson is clear. If you're facing change, don't go it alone. So we have on my channel what's called weekly accountability meetings, where I go live every Friday, and you can come, you can join those. Hopefully you can join them live, but if not, you can join them in the replay, share your goals, and you can be vague about it if you don't want to share the specific. And that is a group that you can join. You can join me, I share mine, and you guys hold me accountable, and we try to do the same for you if you're looking for that added layer of accountability on your goal getting journey. Another form of accountability is self-accountability, and research has shown it to be very, very helpful in helping you reach goals. There's lots of studies done on this with stopping smoking. What I'm talking about is habit tracking, which has been shown to help people reach their goals faster and easier, and to not give up. Get you a habit tracker in the Mod Ambition weekly pages. You will see I also put a picture on the screen. On the bottom of the weekly page here is a spot for you to do habit tracking, and you can also do it on the template that I give you in the description below. And then the next thing is ignoring temptation. So when it comes to discipline, you can have the best of intentions, and then you have these little temptations like the devil on your shoulder show up and try to throw you off track. You're going to need to know how to resist those temptations. So let me share with you guys a few strategies on how to do that. The first thing is replacement. So if you are trying to eat more healthy, let's say, and you're obviously not gonna buy any junk food in your house, but when it comes to those cravings you're having in the moment that make you want to order DoorDash, you're gonna have something in your refrigerator that can replace whatever it is that you're craving. So maybe you put some trail mix, maybe you put some yogurt, some little things that you can snack on when you get those cravings. You can do this with all kinds of things. Having a replacement behavior. If you're trying to drink less, what can you do instead? Maybe it's instead of having a glass of wine at night, you give yourself a nice bubble bath, all those kinds of things. So have some replacement behaviors that can replace the distractions. You're going to want to remove temptation. So if you can, keep your phone on. Usually a lot of moms have to keep their phones on like me, but you don't want to be distracted by social media when you're working. So you keep it maybe at another desk or out of arm's reach. You want to do whatever you can to remove temptation. So like I said before, no junk food in the house, really not out of sight, out of mind. Another thing you're going to do to resist temptations is to don't make decisions in the moment. Stick to what you planned. So if you're using the Mod Ambition Planner, you have set out your week already of what you want to do. You have time blocked your day, and then it might get time to come to the day and you might be like, you know what, I don't feel like doing this. Don't do that. Stick to what you planned. Put on what you picked out the night before. Stick to what you plan to do that day because you decided that with intentionality and with power and a clear frame of mind. When you're in the moment, you can be a little bit weaker because you have emotions of like fatigue or other things getting in your way. Maybe you're feeling bored, all those kinds of things. You don't want to let those feelings dictate your life and what you're moving closer to. You want to act on commitments, not on emotion. You may have to carry those emotions of boredom and unmotivation in the background with you, but carry them with you as you commit to what's really important to you, what you most value in life, which is not about avoiding negative emotions, but it's really living a value-driven life. And when you're resisting these temptations and you're trying to stick to your plan, remember that the first 2 minutes are the hardest. I learned this when I worked in my internship in an addiction clinic when we're teaching folks to overcome cravings. The first 2 minutes is when the brain is trying its best to convince you to give into those temptations. So if you can hold out for those first 2 to 3 minutes, you're much better at actually surviving and getting through that craving because the craving has a life cycle, right? And if you can hold out that 2-3 minutes, distract yourself, do something else, do a replacement, you're going to be much more successful of not giving in to those types of temptations. Another thing I want you to do is don't negotiate with yourself. Don't do what I think Kobe Bryant mentioned as self-negotiation.
Give me an example of that self-negotiation. I love that word, and I get that. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, like, you know, you're out running on the track, working out, and you start talking to yourself saying, man, my knee is really sore right now. Maybe I'm doing too much.
Sounds like me.
Maybe I need to back off. You know, man, my lungs are burning. Maybe I can just slow down here. I'll do like an extra 2 sets tomorrow. You know, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right. That sort of stuff.
Yes.
Like that stuff's dangerous.
Yes.
And that's when you just gotta say, you know what? I'm not negotiating with myself.
Yeah.
The deal was already made. The deal was made. When I set out at the beginning of the summer and said, this is the training plan I'm doing, I signed that contract with myself. I'm doing it. You know, throughout that process, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I think I need to, maybe if we, nope. No, this is non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Don't try to talk yourself out of that. So start to recognize that inner voice inside of you that is trying to negotiate. I call it the craving talking when I was talking to folks in that program specifically, but that can apply to anything. That whatever it is that's trying to veer you off track, that's that trying to call you back. That's not who you truly are. So begin to recognize that voice. And then the other thing you're going to really want to do to resist temptation is optimize your wellness. So when we're feeling good, our willpower is much easier to sustain. Willpower is a finite source. It's not infinite. We only have so much. And it's also higher when we're feeling good. So the most important 3 things you're going to want to look out for when it comes to maintaining your willpower and your discipline is to make sure that you're having high quality sleep, make sure that you're doing things to decrease your stress, and make sure you're putting things in your body that fuel your brain. So really good brain nutrients. Bringing us back to our analogy as discipline is the bridge between where we are and where we want to go. We want to enjoy the walk. And that means saying goodbye to toxic productivity. So I really want to stress that it's not just about building that bridge and walking across that discipline bridge to get to where you want to go. You also want to enjoy the walk. You want to enjoy the journey. Problem is when we go too hard on being disciplined, especially when we're initially motivated to change, that can sometimes cause us to burn out and sacrifice our own well-being. And that does not a sustainable hustle make. So first of all, what is toxic productivity? Toxic productivity can be thought of as workaholism, obsessing about being productive, and tying your self-worth to your achievements. So I want you to incorporate self-compassion, grace into your hustle to avoid burning out. I actually wrote, I'm looking around because I have it up here. I have 2 books on self-compassion if you're interested in starting this journey. The first one is Mindful Self-Compassion, exercises to help you practice and get started with that. The other book that I have for you that I wrote a couple years ago is the 5-Minute Self-Love Journal if you want to check those out if you're looking for some ideas. Another thing you can do to have the sustainable hustle is I want you to account for being human. So for me, for instance, I have a goal of posting on YouTube every single week, but I also know, like I mentioned, I'm a mom, I'm a full-time psychologist, I have clients, I have, my kiddos, my husband, husband, things happen. I have myself, right? And so I like to think about it in a flexible way. So every 6 videos, I want to at least hit those 5 out of every 6 that I want to post. So there may be one week, just like last week, that I don't get to post, but at least I have that flexibility in there that I still am hitting my goal that I can get to 5 out of every 6, which ultimately I usually end up hitting the 6. But it's nice to already in the forefront give yourself that grace so you're not burning yourself out. And like I said earlier, just remembering that willpower is finite. It's not an infinite resource. So using it carefully, using it wisely is going to help you. So some days you'll have really high willpower, and some days will be better than others, that you'll have really low willpower. That walk across that bridge is like this. It's a bridge that's kind of jagged. It's not linear. So think about it in that sense that your willpower is going to fluctuate because it's not infinite. And if you're using the 12-week year strategies, you're going to be incorporating those 3-hour breakout blocks. Again, if you want to know more about what that means, you can look at the cheat sheet I have for you linked in the description below, but you're going to have those scheduled 3 hours of just decompression time at least, but together once every week. You're also going to set up your environment for willpower so you don't have to, use it all the time. You're going to set up your environment that it's easier to focus. You're going to work with timers if you need to work with timers. You're going to do what you need to do in your environment so that you resist temptations, but you also boost productivity without having to think about it, without even having to use that willpower. And I want you to preserve your willpower for hard things and for your most optimal times of flow. So you want to try to do those hard things in the morning when your brain is firing, you have more energy. Most people do those things in the morning because as the day goes on, our willpower is less and less because we're just kind of over it. Our brain is like, okay, I'm ready to chill. If you're interested in the 12-week year goal getting system, actually I've teed up a video I did for you on how to get more done in 12 weeks than most do in a whole year for you to watch next. And if you like this video, please subscribe, and cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.